Sega.
From the tiny foothold taken on the beaches of Normandy in June of 1944, Allied forces have established an ironclad front across a once occupied Europe. They drove deep into enemy territory, scoring victory after victory while freeing millions of people from the clutches of tyranny. But success has not come at an easy price. Our forces moved with shocking speed, stretching supply lines thin while exhaustion set in amongst the troops. Now, with the onset of winter, Allied command has been forced to call a halt while supply and manpower situations are worked out. To alleviate pressure elsewhere, the rugged, forested Ardennes region in eastern Belgium offers a sleepy front, able to be held by new recruits and battle-weary troops as they find some rest before the assault on the German homeland begins.
All right, United Air Wonders, listen up. We're going to be taking over sentry duty from the airport over at Checkpoint 5. Now, seeing as how there ain't nothing there, we're going to build some stuff.
Captain Derby, glad you could finally make it.
Yeah, well, this war ain't no hurry to end. Figured we had plenty of time to mosey on over.
Well, shit. We wouldn't want you boys pulling a muscle hurrying on our account. I'm gonna get the men back to Rockerat for hot meals and showers. They could sure use it.
We need artillery support over here now, goddammit!
Our fighting position is sustaining fire.
Now keep the enemies ahead pinned down. Focus your fire on any guys coming from the flanks.
Points.
Crowd infantry, neutral! Fox, contact report. Light infantry advancing from the northeast.
Roger. We're getting reports from all over the area. Germans are moving in from the east and to the north, between here and Rockerat.
What's the status on Jackson and his airborne team in Rockerat?
No contact as of yet. We'll update you as we hear news.
On the 16th of December 1944, a massive artillery barrage caught Allied forces off guard, signaling the start of an unexpected German counteroffensive in the quiet Ardennes forests. Their intention? Split the Allied lines in half and ultimately claim the valuable harbor at Antwerp. Their timing is impeccable. With the cold winds of winter blowing in, our superior air forces have been grounded, and the Germans are taking full advantage of the situation. 2 full panzer divisions hit the weakly defended Lausanne Gap along a 45-mile front, driving deep into Belgium and Luxembourg. Within 24 hours of the Germans unleashing their desperate offensive, the initiative in the battle for Europe completely changed hands. The 5th Panzer Division attacked Bastogne and St. Vite, aiming to capture these strategic road junctions and secure their hold on the region. U.S. forces now scramble to stem the tide of Germans pouring into Allied territory. Though our lines may have bent, our men will not break. The German offensive will be turned back. The German counteroffensive has been swift and deadly. Pouring into the Ardennes, the enemy drove our boys from the twin towns of Rockerat, Krinkelt, all the way back to Elsenborn Ridge. It is here that we've drawn a line in the sand. With poor weather hampering air support, our men are now relying on heavy artillery and grit. They are all that keeps the Germans from pushing further into the Ardennes. Every major road coming out of the Ardennes converges on one point, Bastogne, making it key to holding the region. After a prolonged siege, our boys trapped in the city are being called the Battered Bastards. And with good reason. They're outnumbered 5 to 1, have no supplies, mounting casualties, and have been in battle for several days straight. In response, Allied command has mustered a relief force that is racing its way toward Bastogne to take the Germans on. After a 2-hour tank battle in Stumont, German armor was running on fumes and forced to pull back. No one expected a counteroffensive so soon after. German forces in the area may outnumber our troops, but their fuel shortage gives us an unforeseen advantage. If our boys can maintain their desperate hold on the small town's fuel reserves for long enough, the German war machine will stall. The German war machine relies heavily on command and control. This has been no different in the Ardennes offensive. Sources tell us that the enemy has consolidated a vast array of command structures around the town of Espelay. Should our boys make a move, any strike would undoubtedly come under the cover of night. Such action could cripple the Germans' ability to coordinate before they know what's hit them. When the Germans rushed into the Ardennes, they effectively split the Allied forces in half. Now, Army North and South are fighting to reconnect. Their aim is to meet in the town of Uffelies, which lies right in the middle of the German advance. In the north, the First Army has engaged the enemy in fierce battle, while their counterpart in the south rushes to join the fray. The town of Eschdorf has switched hands several times in the fight for the Ardennes. Most recently, the enemy established a strong presence in the area, transforming it into a major supply hub. With a well-equipped and experienced force guarding Eschdorf, the Germans think the area is untouchable, but they are mistaken. As we speak, our brave men are preparing a night assault on the town, aiming to cripple the German supply chain.
The convoy's nothing but a burning pile. Good job, men. Let's see how much pushback the Germans can manage without those supplies.
Around the town of Uron, 2 bridges span the River Ur. These bridges have played a key role in the German offensive. Although our boys put up a stubborn defense, the enemy was able to capture the bridges, using them to rapidly move armor and men into Allied territory. Now it's up to the men of the U.S. forces to take back these crossings, staunching the flow of Germans into the Ardennes.
Cover the flank!
town of St. Vite, lying on an important crossroad near the mouth of the Losheim Gap, has become a linchpin in the Germans' desperate offensive. On December 21st, after being on the chopping block for days, our GIs were forced to pull back in the face of overwhelming enemy numbers. Our boys regrouped and retook the town, routing the enemy. They now defiantly hold on to its strategic areas, preparing for a heavy German counterattack.
Out here.
Despite stiff resistance by our troops, the town of Stavelot fell before the Germans' unrelenting advance. Left behind were the town's fuel reserves, which are desperately needed by the Germans to drive their war machine forward. Now the American army has regrouped and is scrambling to retake Stavelot and deny the enemy this much-needed fuel.
Well done, Baker.
After a bitter defeat in the Ardennes, German forces are limping back to hide behind their defenses. Now it's time for our boys to press their hard-won advantage. Before taking the fatherland itself, Allied forces must claim the area west of the Rhine. Lying between them and their goal is the infamous Siegfried Line. Its defenders are armed to the teeth with anti-aircraft emplacements, artillery, and countless Oberkommando forces. Even so, our brave boys are undeterred, aiming to hit the Germans with everything they've got.
Your main objective is the command bunker at the top of the hill. It's the last thing between us and a clear road into Germany. You're clear to engage. All companies advance to contact. And good luck! All right. We need you to move up the southern flank and take out the enemy gun positions along the ridge. We've got men set to advance along the main road, so we need that German artillery cleared out. From the sky!
Watch your spacing. Keep pushing.
In a desperate last-ditch effort, German High Command threw everything they had at the Allied liberation forces. Doing so proved to be a costly mistake. The staunch defenses and ruthless fighting of American troops crushed the enemy's spirit and set the stage for an Allied counterattack that would drive the German forces from the region. With the collapse of the German army in the west and the Red armies smashing into the east, it is clear that the enemy's days are numbered. All that remains is the conquest of the fatherland itself.